Continuing on with some more people here at the Wissota Auto Racing booth, we are with Benjie Froemke. You've been standing there for like 3 hours waiting to talk to me, and apologies for making you stand there so long, but I want to talk to you about the Dirt Race Central Perfect Shirt, Dirt Race Central Street Stock Tour this year. You, Scott Benson and I talked this morning about the Rebel Tour a little bit, and the Street Stock Tour and the Challenge Series kind of came up, and the Moonshine Tour, about tours and some different things that in the Wissota region have happened the last handful of years. This Street Stock Tour, A, well needed when it started, B, has turned into something that guys continually love to do. How's it going?
It's going great. When we started it, it was COVID year, and that's kind of where it stemmed from. And a lot of the drivers had ideas that they wanted something like this. They wanted something outside of your track championships and other things to travel around, and it's been really great. Honestly, couldn't ask for a better group. The guys in that group, the drivers are all friends. They're all buddies. They hang out. They love the tour life. They love hanging out in the pits. They love hanging out at two-day deals and hanging out at bigger events. And it's fun. It's fun to see deeper relationships kind of being built with a lot of these guys too, and a lot of respect on the track. I mean, don't get me wrong. They'll rub your fender and go for the win. But yeah, it's been really, really good.
I think the thing that I like the most about it, and I'm one of those guys where, our FYE stuff kind of take guys away from their regular tracks every now and then too. But I appreciate that. I appreciate when a tour comes in because, like I said to Scott and to Brad with Cedar Lake a minute ago, you may lose a car on your regular Friday night when a tour race is somewhere else. But when you have that race, and if they like your racetrack, you're going to get them hooked to come back and back and back and back. So it's a win-win for everybody. I also want to talk about, you mentioned the relationships with these guys. It is amazing to me the camaraderie that those street stock guys have, and it has all become because of that tour. They were all friends before, but now they've gotten so much closer. Like you said, they park by each other, they grill out, they camp, they travel with each other all summer.
Yeah, and it really starts with a lot of the drivers. I mean, we just kind of put the tour together and the races and tried to give them excuses to get together. And it starts with a lot of the tour guys. They're experienced racers, they're highly respected, and they've welcomed a whole bunch of new drivers, people that have kind of elevated a lot of their levels. A lot of guys that we've found that come on tour, you may get good at one or two tracks, right? And you really think you got your stuff dialed in and you're dialed in there, but you really kind of figure out what you have when you start going to these other tracks. And the learning curve of what these guys tell us after they kind of go on the tours and they start hitting a bunch of these tracks, they're way more comfortable with their car. They know what it's doing. It's not just kind of we know these two tracks and that's it. So it's really fun to see how good they get along. And it's fun going to the different tracks. It's fun seeing some of the drivers. I had never been to this track. I'd always heard about this track. And they go there, and then it's like, I think I'm going to go back to that other race over there now. And so I feel like it also, as long as it's blended in with the weekly racing, you got to be respectful of all the other tracks. But I do feel like it bridges a little bit of a gap for guys to get out a little bit more than maybe just their hometown stuff. So it
for sure does. There's no doubt about that. And the street stock guys, Brad and I were talking a minute ago, and the Little Dream, which is a big deal to me. The street stock guys historically have raced for couple $100, right? I mean, it's a starter class, or it was a starter class for years and years and years. It was about time that the street stock guys, who put on some of the best racing you're ever going to see, no matter what class it is, got some recognition, got whether it's a tour or higher paying shows, but now it's both.
Yeah. No, it's when we first started out, we obviously wanted to reward the drivers. Obviously, there's more competition. There's more racers there. They need to get rewarded. Was that going to work for the tracks? Was it going to work? Are you getting extra fans? And lucky enough, the thing has grown year after year. Several years we had multiple fans that are giving money, and the thing just continues to grow. This year, this will be a little bit of breaking news. We are going to $1,000 minimum to win, which is huge for these guys. Not taking anything away from the bottom part of the pay. They're still getting great pay, contingency stuff. They're going all over. Fans are showing up. All the tracks want to be on. We have multiple tracks that are getting to two-day shows this year. That's going to be a big announcement coming. So, it's all good. The Street Stock Tour is, if you got a Street Stock, you're in a good spot. So.
Well, and you talk about the multi-day events. So the way you put the tour together, it's in a geographical area this weekend or that weekend or whatever it is, which cuts down on travel costs. Plus, now the pay is even better than it was before. And again, these guys who have maybe raced a street stock, like let's take Justin Vogel for example. He's been in street stock forever, very successful, multi-time national champion, all that deal. He now gets to race his home racetracks when he can and when he wants to, but he also gets to go not too terribly far from home and race for big money.
Yeah, and that was I think originally one of the biggest goals was before the tour had kind of started, a lot of your times, like at your weekly tracks, you may travel to your two closest connectors, and people would know you there. And then you're trying to, instead of at the end of the year, your only chance to see all these big shows was at the big specials or the 100 or whatever. Now you're able to kind of follow some of these guys, and a lot of these track champions and these guys from different areas are all on the tour. They're all racing each other each week, and yeah, it's working out really well.
Well, and for years and years, and you know this as well, Wissota had a race of champions right at the Wissota 100. This is kind of a street stock race of champions every single night, right? Because you're right, you've got Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Canada. You got guys from all over the place that once the tour schedule comes out, which we will talk about in a second, but once it comes out, they're going to circle all those dates and make travel plans.
Yes, absolutely, and we try to be very cognizant of you and I both know doing schedules and doing all that is very complex. You're trying to be mindful of all the areas, and I mean, you put on an incredible race over there, the Little Dream. I mean, if you're a street stock racer, there's nothing cooler than that race. The pay and to try to encourage. We always try to get over to Wisconsin right before that weekend because that's a cool race. It's on a Tuesday night. It doesn't interfere. Somehow it works. Everybody comes out for it, and so yeah, we've got some plans in place this year to get some drivers over to that Wisconsin area, and hopefully they're having fun on tour, and then we can keep them over there for the Little Dream and maybe bank. I don't even know how much is it going to be this year.
Well, it's the 30th annual, so that's the goal.
Could be 30,000 then.
That is the goal. We'll see.
Unbelievable. So yeah, like I said, if you're a street stock racer or thinking about going into street stocks, we got Dirt Race Central behind us. We got a lot of great sponsors. Just ran into the guys over at Hoosier and a bunch of sponsors. Shocker Hitch, Scott's here. There's a lot of backing behind this. Guys really like it, and it's going nowhere. It just seems to be getting stronger and stronger. So
when do people expect to see the schedule?
So we are we're about 80 to 90% done. I think we put out a little bit of a teaser that Dirt Race Central was the title sponsor. The other big thing that's coming this year is we've got a lot more two-day shows, being mindful of travel costs, and a lot of the tracks were very voluntary about wanting to do it. So I'm excited about that. Keeps the drivers in the pits, keeps them, they hang out together, they love bonding together. It's kind of that whole tour life deal. And so we're about 80%. I would say challenge shows will probably beat us, but it'll probably be within the next week or so. I think we'll have everything fine.
If I get my way, the challenge series schedule's coming out today. I don't think that's quite going to happen, but we're 99. We might be 100% now that I just saw that last text message. But here's the thing. Let's talk scheduling for a second. You're right. There's a lot of racetracks that run street stocks weekly. You've got to be cognizant around their schedule. You don't want to take cars away from them a bunch of times, but you want to make sure you have a good travel schedule for the guys that are on the tour as well. So these multi-day events, which we've talked about for years and years and years, is if you can pull it off, certainly the best way to do it because travel costs are cut. The camaraderie part's almost more important, though, right? They get to camp together, grill out, do some stuff during the day if they want to help fix each other's cars if they need it, whatever. So really good idea.
Yeah, no, and over time, I remember when we first did our first schedule, we knew nothing of what we were doing. We were basically looking at every other track schedules and trying to, piece together things that would work, and it's almost started last year, but almost a couple years ago, but now this year, a lot of the tracks call us wondering when are these races because they're trying to schedule around. And what's cool is we've always started it at Viking Speedway with a two-day doubleheader at Viking Speedway, which has worked out great. That's the same thing that's going to happen in 2024. And a lot of these are over time. The longer you do them, the more consistent they are. They start to kind of cement themselves as the tracks know, the drivers know, this is when there's a tour race, and so it's fun. It's been fun to see it evolve and get better. So,
I agree. Talk about PRI real quick. How many steps have you made so far this morning?
Well, Ben's here with DRC. He's filming us, and he made me walk all the way back to the trailer. It is big. I have never been here before. Never been to Indianapolis. Absolutely incredible from what I've seen. If you're a racing fan or a motorsports fan, you got to get here. I'm excited to kind of go do some more walking around after this and see all the booths. But I've already barely made it a couple blocks. I'm already walking into people that I know, and so it's kind of fun. It's like, hey, we only had to come to Indianapolis to see each other, So
it's wild though. You and I talked this morning, right when I saw you, and you said you had gone to the trailer. I'm like, man, I'm not even walking over there. That's it. This place is massive, first of all. But the cool part about it, and I mentioned this to Brad too, is there's so many people in motorsports that you just don't get to see ever because you're busy. We're all doing our own things, and everybody comes here. So you do have an opportunity to at least walk by and say, hey, shake hands, talk for 5 minutes. But it is pretty impressive what's going on here, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very fun to see people in this element, kind of, you're able to take a little more time to actually really, really learn what they do, you know what I mean, and meet the people. A lot of, like you said, all of us are very, very busy. Once race season starts and it goes, it just seems like everything's very fast-paced. So instead of just the phone call or the emails, it's fun to see them in person and develop some of those relationships. So,
any other breaking news? We broke a little bit. Anything else? Otherwise, it's time to get walking again, yeah?
I think we'll get walking, but Street Stock Tour is full-fledged ahead. And we're almost done, and hopefully we'll announce that soon, and appreciate the interview.
There it is. Street Stock Tour schedule will be coming out pretty soon.